Hey guys, thank you so much for your time. So, for today, we're going to discuss 5 things that I think are hindering you to achieving your financial goals. Okay, guys, so the first obstacle when it comes to investing is actually fear. And it's quite a normal human reaction because, let's be honest, nobody can predict the future. And in any type of investment, there's always that percentage of risk in terms of not going your way, and it's normal. And I think Rich Dad Poor Dad had a really good quote in their book saying, all rich people lost at some point in their life. And it's true. Even myself, I had investments that didn't go my way. But also the book says that he knows a lot of people that are poor that never lost a cent in their life because they never invested, they never took the risk, and they just prefer to go with the easy route and not push forward in their financial situation. And again, bringing back to being a natural human reaction, you have to think about the human evolution because we all survived in tribes. The person who went outside the tribe pretty much died. And we all have this instinct of survival where we need to do pretty much the same as everybody else to fit in, which is good in most cases, but in, I guess, your financial freedom point of view, it's not really, because if you start copying everybody, then you'll always play it safe. And at the end of the day, people who actually take a risk make the most money. That's why you always get these quote unquote one percenters, because everybody just normally goes to school, gets a job, and just lives within their means. But what I'm trying to push here, it's okay to be fearful, but there are many ways to overcome this fear and push forward. So there are quite a few steps in terms of overcoming fear in terms of investing, and they're pretty straightforward. And the first one is actually accepting this fear. So accept that this is a normal human reaction and it's normal and healthy to feel fear, because that gives you a lot of perspective in terms of how much work you need to put in for this type of investment to work. So once you understand fear is normal and healthy, then you need to understand that you shouldn't put any money in any investment that you're not willing to lose. I don't care if anybody says an investment is 100% guaranteed. There's no such thing. And there's no such thing a person that just goes blindly in an investment and he thinks like, yeah, everything's sure, because that person's not really in the right state of mind. So going into an investment, it's okay to accept that you're fearful. The second point, you need to understand that any money you put in, you're willing to lose it. So never put more than you're actually willing to lose. Always start small. If it's your first investment, I wouldn't, even if you have a lump of savings, maybe invest 5-10% of it and see how it progresses. And then once you build up the courage and the knowledge, then you could go to higher value investments. And this brings up to the next topic is actually knowledge. So you need to educate yourself in the actual area you want to invest in, learn everything about the company, the industry, the reasons why it goes up and down, and then make an actual strategic plan saying, okay, I'm going to invest in this area because A, B, C, D, F reasons, and I'm going to keep it long term, sell it, short it. But at the end of the day, even if you lose, you don't have any regrets because you made all the necessary steps. And sometimes it actually happens where you're right and the market just goes against you because of the market psychology or some peculiar reason when it went against you, but you couldn't have ever known that type of information. So once you have a strong education on it, once you have a strong strategic plan, then your fear is going to subside because you'll have everything in place. So you don't need to just start praying, oh, I hope this goes up or I hope this doesn't go down. You understand why it should go up. And then if you're right, you're going to make a profit. If you're not right and it goes against you, well, you lost a bit of money, but you gained a lot of insight in terms of experience and knowledge. And next time, I'm sure you're not going to make the same mistake. Okay, and before I forget on this one, I have a previous video where I kind of go through all the type of investments and I classify them in terms of risk and in terms of reward. So please check that video out and start again. If you go through that video, you just start with the lowest risk and lowest reward and start learning about this. And then once you build up the knowledge, experience, you start going into the more speculative, higher return but higher risk type of investments. So the second one is cynicism. And I think we all have that friend where you can't really do anything with them because you just say, okay, come on, guys, let's go out to see this movie. I heard this is so amazing. And he just goes,
Nah, seen it. It sucks.
or
Nah, it's not good. It's not great.
and you just ask them, what? How can you say that? Because you haven't seen it.
No, I know it sucks.
And you just like, or let's go to the gym, let's start to work out, and then there's always that.
No, I'm not going because yeah, it's genetics. He's got time. He's got money.
They always have to bring you down, and this is one of my biggest problems. Don't become a cynic and don't have anybody near you who's a cynic because they're always going to drag you down. They're always going to say, if you want to invest, it's always nice to have a bunch of friends that you could openly discuss about finances, and maybe they open your mind in terms of things you never thought about. But don't get guys who are always cynics next to you and actually listen to them, because they're always, if you want to invest in a property, they're going to say,
well, you don't know the history of the property. It's so hard to know the foundation. If you put tenants, what if they're not going to pay? You don't want that hassle. Why don't you just mind your business, or don't invest in that company, their product sucks. And when you ask them,
okay, why did they suck? Well,
yeah, I just don't like them.
Why?
Yeah, because I just don't like them.
Again, don't become a cynic and don't have people in your vicinity that are cynics, and don't listen to them because they always tend to drag you down, and just because they're insecure about their situation or frustrated, and it's just a waste of time and energy that you could spend so much on people who actually push you and support you, or actually start developing yourself financially in an area. So the third one is procrastination. And I could put my hand up and sometimes say, yeah, I'm the king when it comes to this. And I always try to better myself. And it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. But who could actually say, maybe in their university or high school years, they had to study for an exam that was probably in a week, and they'll just push it and push it because it is the same. I was like, I need to study for this exam that I have in 3 days, and then I could find any reason not to do it. I'm tired, I need to sleep, I need to cook, I need to clean up my room, I need to do this, I need to do that, I do need to run 10,000, anything I would find an excuse to do not to study. And it's the same for actually investing into something. It's so easy to just like, I don't have the state of mind to do it. I'm tired. I'm not gonna, let's say you want to study to pretty much invest in a company, and you kind of have an idea, but you actually never made the actual proper research because you need to download all their balance sheets and understand a bit better, and then find their competitors, and then try to understand the whole industry. And it takes time, it takes effort, it takes the diligence, but we always push it back, and I'm no better than you guys. But this is one that would always just make you regret so badly when you wanted to invest in a company that you knew did really good, but you just needed to put just a bit of work, and then they put out their income statement quarterly and they did super well and the stock just shots up 10%, and you're just thinking like, I just lost that money because I would just procrastinate. And you just like say, you say, this is the last time I'll do it again. Need guys, every time you feel like procrastinating, I know it's normal, but try to push yourself as much as possible, because it's always easy to do stuff when you're feeling great, when you're on top. But I think true character actually shows when you're feeling the lowest. So every time, maybe you need to think of this, your true character is when you're down in the dumpsters. That's where you really need to shine, and those are the, I guess, the pivotal moments in your life where if you put really great effort when you're down, it's going to pay you so many dividends down the road, and you're just going to look back and you think like, good, good for me for doing that when I was so down and not pitying myself and pushing myself forward, because I wouldn't be here if I didn't do so much work when I was down back there. And the next one is bad financial habits. And to be fair, I really need to do a separate video on how to pretty much break habits down and develop good habits and try to kind of decrease or destroy bad habits. And it's a lot to talk about. And I'll do it in another video just to talk about habits. But for you guys to better understand, we all have good and bad habits. That's normal human nature. And habits are, I guess, a way how your brain tries to automate stuff to make your life easier. So you should call it pretty much autopilot. So we all do this. It's how your brain creates a specific autopilot so it doesn't need to use so much energy, so you can focus on other stuff that pretty much matter to you. So how many of us are driving to work every day, and if it's your first day driving to work, you use so much energy and you're focused and you have your GPS and you're trying to remember stuff. Now push for 6 months from now, and you're starting your day going to work and you got in a car, start driving, and then bam, you're at work and you're just like, what happened here, guys? Like and you're just like, boom, straight to work. Or even worse, it's a Saturday, you go driving on the same path to work, but you want to stop at a shop, you don't want to go to work, and then you just like, oh, I should have gone that way, but I took this exit because I've been driving this road so many times to go to work. So that's autopilot, and these are pretty much habits. Just the way your brain sets something up on autopilot for you not to think and not to use so much energy. And these are good and bad. And all these habits have a specific trigger, have a specific pattern, and have a specific reward at the ending that satisfies your human need. And this is where you have to go back into evolution. You have to understand that all of us have basic needs of, I guess, survival, food, reproduction. All of these, a habit pretty much tries to satisfy. So, for example, a bad habit is smoking, right? But the actual reward is that short term, after you smoke, you get probably a dopamine hit and reduce stress type of feeling, and that's pleasurable because your body craves it, and that's how you develop the habit, because you got the reward at the ending and you like it, and your brain automatically says, "Ooh, we need to do this because we like this." And a good habit is also, for example, you train yourself to count your calories, and at the end of the day you feel a bit better, you feel better the next day, maybe in 2 months you see the results and you feel great, and you just follow this up because you need to like count your calories, you need to run because this is how you get to feel better, and that's a good habit. But when it comes to bad financial habits, we all know them. We are all guilty of them. It's when you start spending more than you earn. It's when you get a credit card because you really wanted that instant gratification for any type of object with that you didn't need. If it's a expensive, I guess, luxury item, or if it's an expensive car versus because you wanted to impress the neighbors, or there's also this weird type of effect where we always challenge ourselves with their neighbors, but we don't know their actual financial situation, and we always try to better ourselves than them, but we end up hurting ourselves because if the neighbor gets, I mean, there are actual studies of this. If you have a new set of neighbors that come in and they have a really expensive car, they have really expensive, I guess, shoes, whatever, you can see the whole neighborhood then trying to emulate them and try to beat them, even though they don't have the same financial situation. So, again, when it comes to habits, I really need to do a specific video to better understand what the habit is, how to set up a habit, how to break down a habit, and how to alleviate a habit. But for the moment, you have to put it down on paper at the end of the month. And if it's not strictly necessary and it only gives you instant gratification and it's not benefiting you long term for having a financial independent situation, then I will classify it as a bad financial habit. And we need to work on that one to limit them, reduce them, and finally get rid of them. Because the whole point of this exercise is to get rid of any instant gratification and think about long term where we're going to be in a much better position. And the last one is arrogance. And this is one that's super, super dangerous. And I could give you an example. If you ever think about any big ginormous company that was on top of its game and then it went down and now nobody remembers them, it's because of arrogance. It's because you already think that you're on top of your game, you know everything, and nothing's going to change. Even if I think about that phone company, BlackBerry, right? At some point, they had the biggest chunk of the market. They were unstoppable. They were on top of their game. And where are they now? Nowhere. Because it's Apple's, Samsung, and a couple other big company names in terms of the phone market, and BlackBerry is just like nobody cares about them. Which is, I always put this to arrogance because we're all, even if you go into any company, there's always that guy who thinks he knows everything. He's been there for 30 years, and any new method or any new innovation to him is stupid because his way is the best way and we've been there and it's already, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, which is, again, in this aggressive type of market, that mindset is always going to bite you sooner or later. And we need to fix this if this is your case. Sometimes it was my case and I paid dearly because I went into a stock thinking I know everything and I went all in and it just blew up in my face. And I said, I'll never do this again. So what you should do here is to fix this thing is one, educate yourself. And this is not me saying you need to learn about this small all your life. You need to understand that the more you know, the more you understand that you don't know. And it's a really interesting thing. The more you learn about the subject, the more you know that that subject is so complex and you need to learn more and more, and the more you understand, the more you get humbled by this experience. And that's the best solution in terms of arrogance. Try to research and educate yourself in the subject, and then always talk to people with the same opinion as you, but talk to people who had a opposite opinion. You go on forums every time. If I talk to somebody that wants to invest in a company and I might not have an opinion because I didn't really research it, learn everything about it online. Go to Reddit, go to forums, try to get everybody's opinion and try to see where are they coming from. Because once you know the positive opinion and once you know the negative opinion and once you have the reasons behind both of those, and you can put them together, and then you can make your own judgment, and you'll be in a much stronger position to make a much more, I guess, educated, investment, rather than thinking, oh, I've done this before, I know it, you just need to do these three numbers, and that's it. You might have gotten lucky the first time, and that's why it worked. Don't always, there's an old saying, measure twice, cut once. In investing is research probably 99% of your time, and that 1% is actually when you press the button and invest. And that 99% of the time where you do the research and do it properly, the highest chance for you guys to make money and have a steady flow of income out of this. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and thank you so much again for your time and your patience, and have a great day, guys. Stay safe.